Okay, let me turn off the background music. We're ready to begin. So, today we're going to talk about building resilience for work. Remember, we're executive warriors, so we're not just fit and strong and just look good. We actually perform well. We perform well at work. We perform well at life with our family. That is what it's all about. Having it all, right? Okay, so I'm keep on looking down because I'm looking at the slide. I gotta change the control so that you can have a look at something better than my face. Okay, resilience for work. That how do we upgrade resilience for work using martial exercises? This is what we're gonna cover today. What would you discover today? You're going to discover how you can upgrade your resilience. You actually, well, sorry, I gave away the answer. Can you upgrade your resilience? You'll find out some of the rationale behind what I'm about to share with you. But we'll also talk about how you can implement these resilience principles about building your effectiveness at work and using the protocol that I'm about to share with you. And last but not the least, of course, you have to put this into action. Otherwise, it's just knowledge. You don't become the knowledge if you don't implement the knowledge. Okay. Business and life challenges. Don't we have 4 of them? We have so much challenges. Disruptions, technology, things don't work, employees, all right? It's challenging sometimes, but also very fulfilling sometimes. Sales, family, we know there's a lot of stress, in terms of disruptions and challenges that life tends to throw at us. The amount of work we need to do, 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours, there's a lot of time we need to spend building our business, building our career, but also to spend with our family, right? Life loves to hand us challenges and problems, and competition, competing demands. Everything wants a piece of you. Everyone wants a piece of you. How do you split your time? This is very challenging. You quickly realize that, money and status and power wouldn't solve some of these issues. A lot of people think they can. If I can just have more power or if I can have more money, then everything will be easier. But what you don't know is it just amplifies everything, right? Everything becomes harder. So we need to be resilient so that we can tackle on more. Imagine if you run a $1 million business today, but if I increase it to a $10 million business with 10 times more work, more employees to manage and govern, would you think that's easier or harder? Hopefully you see it's actually harder. So that's why you need resilience. And what does that mean? The Heart Math Institute, which is a research institute helping people build more heart-based coherence or heart coherence. And they define resilience as the capacity to prepare for, to recover from, or adapt in the face of stress, challenge, or adversity. Right? I've said that your ability handling $1 million business is very different to handling a $10 million business because it has more demand, there's more conflict, there's more challenges. All the things I mentioned, it's actually just exponentially bigger. Will you be crushed by that, or will you thrive? That's the difference. People who can handle bigger things are more resilient. They don't crush in adversity. They don't crash in adversity. They don't burn out in the face of stress, challenge, or adversity, right? Another definition that we have for resilience is the mental capacity to cope with disappointments, difficulties, and disasters in life with flexibility, bouncing back from life's setbacks with skill, adaptability, or even grace. This reminds me of something that Ray Dalio was saying in one of his videos. Ray Dalio is a billionaire founder of Bridgewater. They're like a hedge fund investment firm, one of the biggest in the world. And his life philosophy is it's all about struggling well, right? Exactly. Resilience, that's the definition. We struggle well. Life is full of challenges, work, and stress. When you can struggle well, when you can struggle better, more gracefully, more elegantly, and longer than your competitors, you will beat them. When you can't, you'll be crushed. That's just reality. There's another facet to this resilience, because it's not just a mental game, it's a physical game. I added this definition. This is my version of it. Resilience is also the body's capacity to cope with movement, energy, illness demands in life with flexibility, right? Illness. Can we recover from that? Are we recovering well when we get ill? Are we recovering well and coping with the demands in life? And we have this flexibility. We can bounce back from physical setback, right? With skill, adaptability, and even grace. They go hand in hand. The mental and the physical, they're not separated together. And when you train the physical, you can train the mental. Okay, so now you know the importance of resilience. You can understand when I say resilience is being stronger under pressure. Don't you like that as a skill? It's cool, right? Handling 10 customers. Great, you got good at it. Can you handle 1,000? Managing $10,000 versus handling $10 million? Much bigger responsibility. Managing 2 employees versus 10,000 employees, right? Babysitting your friends' kids or having your own kids. So they're all different game. You can tell it's a different game. This is why majority of lotto winners who win or inherited a big lump sum of money tend to lose a little, because they don't have the resilience or the capacity to tackle the pressure that come with such a big responsibility. And this is why resilience is important. The question is, and you might ask, is this something that you can actually upgrade? Can you upgrade it? Right? It's a valid question. Traditionally, you want to think you're born resilient or you're not. Some people are just stronger than others because genetics or culture, family, whatever that is. And the old military philosophy is really to identify the people who are resilient. You weed out the weak, right? In your BUDS, not your BUDS training, but the Special Forces selection team for Navy SEALs. Selection process, it's called BUDS. Basic Underwater Demolition something. I can't remember what the S stands for, but that is designed to weed out the people who are not mentally tough. It's not about the physical fitness. Majority of people who fail is not because they physically fail, it's because they fell mentally, they gave up mentally. And you want to weed out the weak-minded, the people who don't have what it takes to be a Navy SEAL. That's why they put them through that process. And you weed them out. Now, that's fine for a long time in history. After September the 11th, though, everything changed. The need for special forces went up exponentially, right? And simply filtering out the weak is just not sufficient. You just can't continue to not train people and just filter them out. You have to actually create more people who, rather than dropping the standard, you have to, which will, of course, get more people through, but you don't want to do that. That's not helping. But what can we do, right? The Navy SEALs training program, basically underwater demolition SEALs, but it's notoriously rigorous. Like there's 75% failure rate. When they studied why people fail, right? I talked about it's not their body but mind. So what if, the question is asked, what if we train people to be mentally tougher? What if we can improve resilience If that's the reason why people fail, can we do something? So they got all these scientists at the Navy Special Warfare Center. They got all these special like scientists who's researching into the neuroscience. They got psychologists. They got sports trainers, and they work together to see, hey, can we create a program to train people to be mentally tough and give them the tools to be able to manage their body, and so that they can successfully complete buds. And the results shocked everyone. In that particular program, mental training program, increased the mental resilience of the participant and increased the pass rate by over a third. Over a third. That's amazing. Right? Normally you've got 75% failure rate, but now you've got 33, 34%. Amazing. That's what that tells you is mental toughness and resilience is actually a trainable skill. And you saw that when you increase your success, when you increase the amount of things you own, the people you manage, you need that. You need that greater ability to bend and not break, to survive the tough times, to overcome bigger challenges. And the exciting news of this research, or what it is tells us, is you can actually learn that. It's not something you're just born with. You can actually get better with that. So how do you actually do this? Okay, there's two ways of doing it. One way is like going to the gym. I call it dedicated session. So resilience dojo. You get a whole ton of mental and physical body benefit, but it's dedicated. You need that time. The video I showed in the previous module, where we talked about my protocol and why I do resilience, I show you Tony Robbins' take on resilience. He does a cold plunge in the morning. He does what's difficult, right? And that requires dedicated time. You can't be doing that in the office. So what else can you do? You can do an integrated resilience training that is mainly mental focused, like mental training, but it's done in situation. It's also done. It can be done at work, and that's what we're going to start today. I'm going to show you an integrated resilience building exercise that you can do at work. All right. That is my protocol, the Exec Warrior Integrated Resilience Protocol. It's integrated into your day rather than requiring you to take off all your clothes and taking a cold plunge. You can do this every single day when you're taking a break, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You can do this anytime, anywhere. It is an active set. It will train for mental toughness, and there are 4 pillars in the Warrior Mental Toughness protocol that was designed for Navy SEALs. I'm going to be using the same 4 pillars just to make it easier for you to understand. And I'll show you how I integrate these 4 pillars into my resilience exercise. All right. Warrior arousal control. That's about mastering your mind. When a warrior gets shot at, get attacked, when they face challenging, you have 2 responses. You can have fight or flight response, or you can have a calm response. Fight or flight response make you reactive, right? It causes bad decisions to be made. And that's how people get injured. That's how people get killed in battle. They make poor decisions because they're so stressed, they went into reaction mode. They don't even think. And bad decisions get made. It could not just be the person being killed. It could be their peers being killed, friendlies being killed, or shooting at the wrong place or the wrong people, right? So mastering this agitation response when challenges come, when you're under threat, when you're being shot at, it could be a personal attack. Maybe someone blame you for something that you didn't even do, and then you feel so upset about it. How can you control that? That is the arousal control. Goal setting. How good are you at setting goals? Again, that is a skill. It's not yes, some people are born with those things. They've got more talent. But as you know, in a lot of professional sport, it's not the person who has the most talent wins. It's often the person with some talent and train the hardest to tend to become the greatest, the GOAT of their field. So being able to set goals for yourself and train your mind to be able to constantly set goals and achieve them is key for you to be successful in training mental toughness. Positive self-talk, that's your mind. What do you tell yourself when you're going tough circumstances, when things are tough? Do you tell yourself, I'm going to fail? This sucks. Why do they do this to me? Why are they like this? Why won't people listen? Why don't they just do what they're told? Or do you tell yourself something different? How can I get them to do what they do, what they need to do? How can I make sure they're successful? How can I make sure that I'm successful and I get the best outcome in this situation? Can you notice that different self-talk creates different mood? And this is training your mind to understand, to talk to yourself in a constructive way. That is positive self-talk. And visualization. Can you visualize an outcome? Every highly successful elite athlete understand the power of visualization. It's not some woo-woo science, right? I mean, these 4 mental toughness pillars are used to train the toughest of the tough. Navy Special Forces, Navy SEALs. You can't get more kick-ass than that, right? These are the best of the best. And this is what they do to go from 75% failure rate to increasing that pass rate by significant margin, by more than a third. And this will help you today when you implement this. How do you do this? How do you do this? So I'm going to go into how you can implement this. But before we go there, the benefit, I want to highlight this. This is not just about physical. This is not just about a feel-good thing. This is about how you become a warrior by training your body and training your mind, and you will stop procrastination. A lot of people think procrastination is because they don't want hard enough or they're not disciplined enough. No, it's about you having an inability to manage the distress of doing whatever thing that you're supposed to be doing. This is what the psychologist research shown. Procrastination, when you're supposed to be making phone calls to customer and you keep on putting that off for whatever reason and you do something instead, it's not because of discipline problem. It's because the thought of calling a customer creates this sense of distress. Maybe you worry about your inability to sell. Maybe you worry about what they will say. Maybe they'll tell you, screen at you, or tell you that something that you don't want to hear, right? Because of that, you can't manage that stress. Therefore, you put that off. You do something instead. Perhaps it's a boredom. Maybe you've got a lot of work you have to churn through, and it's making you bored. You can't handle that. Therefore, you don't do that well. And that is what everyone I talk to, every executive, every leader, when they complain to me about procrastination, the work they're doing is creating an emotional response that they rather not handle. And that's why they put that off. That's a protection response, because your body, your mind cannot handle the stress of doing what you need to do. And that, to protect yourself, you do something easier. You do something mundane rather than important, right? So procrastination, when you train your resilience, you will stop procrastination, because then you have the greater ability to handle what is unpleasant, what's not, maybe not fun, but necessary. And being an entrepreneur, being successful, is all about doing what's necessary, not just what you like to do. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And so doing this will stop procrastination. But it's also got, like, it will make you look cool, right? It will make you look good. You'll burn more fat, improve blood sugar regulation. It will increase through the increase of metabolism. You'll prevent injuries. You build your fascia, your inner size, right? So this is what I call an yin-based exercise, so yin and yang. Remember I mentioned in last module, you'll prevent all kinds of injuries through RSI, repetitive stress injury, through keyboard or mouse, because you're physically getting up and you're literally training your body by doing this exercise. So, like, I hope I've sold it to you enough. It is worth doing. All right. When do you do this? What I'm about to show you, you can do in between different focus work sessions. So if you're doing a Pomodoro, you've got a productive session, or you have a meeting where you're doing deep focus work, this is a good way to have a break to reset your dopamine system in your brain, so that when you go into your next focus session, whether it's another meeting, maybe it's write a sales letter, whatever that is, you go in with this refreshed determination and motivation, and you need that. Your brain is not designed to work continuously for hours and hours and have hyper focus. And if you think you can do that, you're not human, right? The reality, or you're in denial. The reality is you're far more effective when you have conscious breaks from focus session to let your brain reset. That's just the biology. That's just the neuroscience. Accept it will help you become more successful. So do this to help you reset. This is a great way to help you reset. Try to do 5 minutes of this effortful resilience exercise, and you can go your way. So from 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Try not to do too close before your bed, because it does make you more energetic after this exercise, and you don't want that when you're supposed to be winding down before bed. Okay, so that is what you do. All right, that's me in a stance. That's what you're aiming for in your posture. So it's a conscious mental exercise, but you're using the physical to reach the mind. So you need to use your mind to focus on your body. You stand like this in a standing pose. We call that a standing pose in martial art training. Try to go as low as possible. Okay, so it's like a squat. You're almost like a sitting down, looking. But when you look down on your knees, you can see your toes. So see how I draw this line in there, making sure that your toes, so your knee don't go past your toes. And the reason for that is you don't want to put too much stress on your knees for this particular exercise. There is a place and a time for your knees to go past your toes, just not now, right? Not for this exercise. Sit back, your back straight, your head straight. Imagine and visualize like there's a string pulling up on your head, right? At the same time as pulling your butt down. So like your spine is being stretched both up and down. You're sitting down, but your spine, your head is being pulled up. That's a visual imagery you gotta put in your head when you do this exercise. Your shoulders relaxed. Your elbow is down, pointing towards the ground. Your fingers is actively stretching apart. So it's active. It's not relaxed movement just putting there. What I'm trying to show you, let me show you what that is. So my fingers, rather than just soft like that, it's actually like this. I'm actually stretching, pulling apart. And this is where the mind controls the body. The mindfulness, right? You're visualizing your hand just opening apart, right? And then it's like we call this isometric exercise. You're almost like forcing it, moving it, but tensing it. But it's not like a soft, relaxed, just bend like that. But it's actually active. It's an active, static movement where you're literally tensing your muscle and stretching, open up your fingers. Okay, your palms are engaged as hard as you can. It's actually forceful. Okay, breathe through your nose only. Your nose is designed for breathing. right? James Nestor in his book Breath talk about how critical it is for you to breathe through your nose, not through your mouth. It changes everything. It changes your immunity, it changes your stress response, it changes so much more. Go and read his book, Breathe, and you will understand why it's so important. But let's just get back to this exercise. Breathing through the nose is critical, and this is what you do. So you stand like this, you don't need to move, and you can do this anywhere, right? And when you do this, as you do this, you sit there and you start a timer. Try to aim for 1 minute, 2 minutes. Try to get up to 5 minutes. First thing you'll notice is as you stand like this, your leg starts to get sore within less than 1 minute. If you do this properly and you go down low, your leg will feel like it's gonna break. So it feels sore. But this is where you train your arousal control. Sore legs, your sore arm. Okay, well, it's not gonna break. I've trained a ton of people using this particular exercise. No one has ever broken an arm standing like this. But what you do is your arms and legs are sore and it's telling you it's going to break, and this is where you're going to master them. You don't let your arm tell you what to do. You will acknowledge them. Yes, leg, you're sore. Okay, it's okay. And you're going to breathe. Train your breath. You do the box breath. Again, this is a breath that was shared with Navy SEALs on managing arousal control. It's 5 seconds in. So imagine a box. Okay, 5 seconds in, breathe in. Over 5 seconds, you're going to hold your breath for 5 seconds. Then you're going to breathe out. Okay? And then hold your breath. Don't breathe in, right? Hold your breath out. And then breathe in again, 5 seconds. Breathe out, 5 seconds. Sorry, hold your breath in. And then breathe out, 5 seconds. Don't breathe, 5 seconds. Breathe in, hold your breath. Okay, so every single cycle is 5 seconds. And that is what they gave to the special forces to train the arousal control. It calms the nervous system. It allows you to tolerate greater stress. In this case, this is perceived stress. It's your leg and arm thinking it's going to break, but it's not. That is the training that you acknowledge. Goal setting. How do you train that? In this exercise, you might aim for 1 minute. I'm just going to stand like this for 1 minute. Then you can go 2 minutes. You can do 3 minutes. Or you can set your goals to go lower. Once you get good at it, you can do 5 minutes. You want to go lower because you don't want to use time as any factor for making it more difficult, but you set your goals for yourself. Every time you achieve it, you're programming your mind to say, I can overcome. I am an overcomer. I can do this. So next time when you face a challenge that life throws at you, you feel more settled because you know you have ability to overcome the challenge. So that's the goal setting. That's very important. Positive self-talk. Acknowledge your body's feelings. Your body is saying, okay, my legs, my arm, it's sore. That's okay. Yes, you are sore, but that's okay. Right? Affirm it. Say your body, it's okay. And this is how you can, despite feeling it's a self-imposed training stress, but despite that, you're acknowledging it, you're not in denial, but you're saying you're fine. You can do this. And you use this mental positive self-talk to help you achieve the goal, whether it's 1 minute or 2 minutes of standing. And the mental visualization, as you do this, you can close your eyes and develop your interoception. So you're sensing of your interior movement, which is, are you using the correct body posture? Are you using the correct, are you centered? Are you in balance? Are you leaning too much to the left, too much to the right? Are you in the center, or you're leaning forward, or you're leaning backwards? Find your center. Visualizing what I shared with you, like the spine stretching, head going up, being pulled up, and butt getting pulled down, right? Stretching. Visualize the soreness leaving, right? Your arms feeling sore. Just look at that. Nothing to do. You'll notice the soreness leaves after a while. And then you can sit a little bit longer, right? And that's how you can achieve your goal. As you stand like this, you can visualize, yeah, sore. But then you'll notice that it's only an initial reaction. Eventually it leaves before it gets really sore, right? So don't react to the first thing. So this altogether is training a whole host of your mental and the body through your body's mind game. It's a form of what you call active meditation or warrior training. We train that in every class to give you a better, more centered composure. And as you do get good at this, you develop this sense of confidence. You can see in the eyes of people who've trained this and be successful, you can see that they change. There's something in the eyes that's different. The confidence, the assurance, the calmness, like a warrior, right? You see a master, you know that you can't mess with this guy. You can't mess with this person because it's got something in there. There's a fight in the eyes that you can see, that you don't want to mess with this guy. And that confidence will radiate from you. And that's what happens when you do a simple exercise like this. I want to highlight how important that is, right? It looks like, oh, we're just standing there. No, you're not just standing there. You're doing the warrior exercise to be a kick-ass executive warrior. That's the inner game. All right, so I've shared this with you, and I show you how this simple stance implement the 4 warrior warrior toughness protocol that was shared with the Navy SEALs. But where do you do this? And there's different environment. Traditionally, when we teach this, we generally like to get people to do barefoot on the grass with fresh air. That's probably the best place to do this type of exercise. When you in the modern environment, there's a lot of there's a lot of positively charged ion. Your body, through electromagnetic radiation, it actually generates a charge. That is not woo-woo science. That is actually been proven. I can actually demonstrate and measure the charge on your body when you hold an iPhone in your hand. You can measure it, right? There's an alternating current generated through just the way the electromagnetic wave works. When you put your barefoot on grass, it discharges. So your body is never designed for to be constantly charged by this electrical current. When you get back to nature and you touch barefoot on some wet grass, you will feel tremendously calm. You can feel the difference. So try barefoot on grass. If you have to wear shoes. That's okay, right? That's the next option. The next best area is a tile floor area, like a kitchen. You have to toilet, okay? It might be a bit stinky, but it's okay. It's just a few minutes. Get a reset. If you don't want to look weird, I find cubicles a good place to do that. No one's going to look inside. I hope so. Office, if you do it in office, that's okay. Carpet, it's not great. Carpet has a lot of toxins, fire retardant, all these chemicals that you shouldn't want in your body. But if you have to, that's okay. But don't do this in a highly polluted environment. If there's a lot of chemicals recently sprayed with some air fresheners, do not do this around those chemicals. It's not good for you. All right, so I've shown you where you do this. Questions, right? This is what often people ask. What if I have knee pain? How can I do this? Don't go as low as possible. But let me go back to the actual stance and I'll show you this stance. You can try to do this, but when you do this, just make sure you look down. Your knee shouldn't go past your toes, okay? That is very important. If you have knee pain, it's probably you're doing something wrong or your legs are not, your foot are not parallel. So watch out for that. What if you can't get down very low? That is okay. It'll take time. It takes time to open up your hips to be able to go down low. It will still be a good training for you to practice. What if you can't find a private space? I've mentioned my secret. All right, don't follow me to the toilet cubicle. But that's a place where I do use to do a bit of reset between key focus session. It just rejuvenates me in a different way. How often should I perform the resilience set? Look, it's something that you can practice every day, 2, 3, 4 times a day. There's no limit, because this is something that is not going to increase your risk of injury. In fact, it will kind of train you from the inside to prevent injury. So it's something that can be safely done almost any time, as many times as you think you would like to do. How long should you perform this? I mentioned that already, 1 to 2 minutes. Try to aim for 5 minutes. If you can do 5 minutes, maybe you want to adjust it to make it a little bit more difficult to go a little bit lower. Taking action. What can you do? Share the community. In the community, what's it like doing this? Did your leg shake? Did you start to get warm? Did you start to get hot? What's that like? And how does it feel? Any questions? Pop them in the community chat. I'm here to help, and ask and you shall receive. All right, that's today's module about building resilience at work. You can do this anytime, anywhere. It's a very simple exercise. There's actually a ton of other different ways, interesting ways you can also train a similar exercise to introduce variety. And that's something I'll keep on updating as part of the Unfair Advantage tribe. You're part of my tribe. I'll add more exercise to make it fun and interesting for you to try. You might get bored. You're just standing there. All right. You want to try something novel, and there's different things that you can actually integrate into your workplace to build your resilience so that you can be the executive warrior that you are meant to be. I will see you in the next module. God bless. Take care.